What's up, everyone? I am the one, the only Jack Slater, aka the Comic Outlaw, and we're coming to you with What If Hulk Had Killed the Wolverine? Yup, guest star in the Uncanny X-Men. And this one's a double feature for y'all. Yep, I'm not delivering one, I'm delivering two stories rolled up into one great package. Yeah, that's like unwrapping She-Hulk and Supergirl at the same time, if you know what I'm saying. Well, anyways, this is Wolverine's first appearance where he was fighting off the Hulk in Wendigo. I believe that was in Hulk 181, 180. And this battle had been raging on. These guys were in like a three-way fight. And in the original reality, he kind of just stayed off the Hulk. But in this one, Wolverine loses it and comes down with a killer swipe. And for some reason, somehow, some way, it ends up killing the Hulk. The most powerful being in the Marvel Universe lies dead at Wolverine's feet. This sends repercussions throughout the universe. No one can believe it. Everyone who's clashed with this creature, everyone who's tried to beat him, stop him, is surprised that he's finally stopped. As Betty Ross cries, for she knew that he was Bruce Banner. And Thunderbolt Ross learns the terrible secret that he was hunting his own future son-in-law. Meanwhile, Magneto, from his Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, is kind of watching events unfold and realizes that he needs such a man, such a mutant in his group. A killer that could destroy the Hulk would be useful to him. But at any rate, Wolverine is enjoying a good beer, celebrating the fact that he just murdered the Hulk. And this guy comes out of nowhere and takes a shot at him. Now, this is the wrong thing to do with Logan. He hits him back and a bar fight ensues. And Wolverine loses his temper and kills this guy. Of course, he pulled the gun on him, so tit for tat. But anyways, people are scared. This is before Wolverine learned how to control his temper. He's still dealing with the animal inside of him. He's had no experience with the X-Men. Currently, he heads back to his only friend in Alpha Flight, Hudson. And he tells him that you killed someone, you've gone off the rails, and there's no way Department H can protect you anymore. This man's the Eradicator, by the way. And then he gets beamed up, teleported up to Magneto's ship. And Magneto makes him an offer he can't refuse, since Wolverine's being hunted down by the cops, the government, and basically everyone else in a free world. And in the not-so-free world. Meanwhile, Professor X is gathering together his team of mutants, training them to be his X-Men. But now there's a new recruit standing at the doorway. Should they let him in? Professor X does, realizing the power that he has, the experience. It is Logan. And he says that he's come to join the X-Men. And this is him joining at a very earlier stage than previously him joining. He joined a little later on. But this new team of X-Men, they need Wolverine. His savagery is a big use to them. I mean, a lot of these X-Men at this point are kids, they haven't had a whole lot of training or experience, unlike Wolverine. But that doesn't mean nothing when he's on the other team. He's sabotaging them from the inside. Now he sees Jean Grey, and his feelings for Jean have never changed, even in this what if. And she begins to turn the tide inside his soul. And he's contemplating whether or not to betray them when Magneto appears and reminds him of his mission, reminds him what he has to do, and reminds him that he is not safe anywhere unless he has the protection of the Master of Magnetism. Meanwhile, the X-Men are training, and they're trying to perfect their skills. Like I said before, this is an earlier version of the team. They don't have as much experience, both fighting and, of course, experience with the outside world, trusting people. And they trusted the wrong person before Magneto walks in. Wolverine shut down the security. And the Brotherhood just begins to attack the X-Men. Jean goes to find out what's going on with Xavier, and they find Xavier wounded but still alive. And now the Brotherhood is literally having their way with the X-Men. Magneto's about to deliver the death blow to Jean Grey, and Wolverine stops, pushes her out of the way, And as you notice, he changed his costume to make it look more friendlier, and it's more of an updated version of his costume now. But as Wolverine, just changing sides, ends up turning against the Brotherhood, and the tide starts to turn. But the Brotherhood have had more experience. They're older and they know how to use their powers more. And I love this. Wolverine tries to actually stick his claws through the Blob, and his body wraps around them, not even cutting him. So Wolverine finds another way to outsmart him, using his own momentum and weight against him. He smashes him into the wall. And this is the difference between a skilled fighter against brute force. Now this guy's interesting. He's Uranus the Untouchable, and nothing can touch him. So Cyclops finds a way around that and melts a little hole that he falls into. Very smart. And of course, Magneto's not done. He has a plan. And he unleashes his full power upon the X-Men. But he doesn't take into regard Wolverine's healing factor. And he kicks Magneto right in the neck, loosening that helmet of his. And Wolverine's going for the death blow. But he stopped at the last minute. And Cyclops' mercy ends up killing Wolverine, for Magneto makes him stick his claws in his throat right before he dies. So Wolverine lies dead, a villain, anti-hero, and dies a hero, an X-Men. And part 2 of this double feature is what if the Fantastic Four was no more. Since I've been covering the Fantastic Four lately, I thought I'd throw this in as a little bonus. So here we go. Now, I've been explaining the story of the Fantastic Four. Astronauts hit with cosmic radiation, crashed, given different abilities by the cosmic rays, and decide to become a team. A team to help stop evil. But what if this team was no more? What if Ben Grimm had become the monster that everyone always assumed he was? And as they do that famous gesture, that Fantastic Four gesture, Thing changes his mind, blames Reed for everything, starts to rip him apart, but is stopped by the Human Torch, and Thing takes off on his own. And yes, certain things continue, but instead of 4, there's 3, and a signal goes up, and Reed, worried, knowing what's going on, knowing who's behind the destruction of Late, and why he has to summon the rest of them. The Human Torch shows up. Sue's already there, and basically he's explaining the situation. That Thing has been a monster lately. The longer he goes on, the more destruction he causes, the more he slips from his humanity. And they have to put a stop to this creature. Now Thing's basically traveling around incognito. He bumps into this woman that ends up being Allison, his girlfriend in a previous life. But not this one. And of course, her father, the Puppet Master, is looking for her. The evil Puppet Master, who's still a villain at this time. But people discover there's a Thing, and they try to basically attack him, and he just throws them all off and starts his rampage. The Puppet Master ends up saving his stepdaughter, possibly the only good thing he's ever really done in his whole life to this point. And Thing begins smashing everything. One thing that he grabs is the Daily Bugle van and just crushes it. And a young Peter Parker runs away. And he never goes to the museum on that fateful day. Never bitten by a radioactive spider. Never to become the Amazing Spider-Man. And as Thing continues his rampage, a taxi cab is stopped, and a man misses his appointment. His trip overseas, where he would find a stick and become the mighty Thor. But this never happens to Donald Blake, so there will be no Thor. And as the Thing continues his rampage, just destroying everything and everyone in his path, can anything stop him? Can anyone stop him? As he clobbers his way through New York City, full of rage and taking it out on everyone and everything. A young scientist is there by the name of Bruce Banner, and his future father-in-law, Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. And this changes history as well, because Bruce Banner is not in New Mexico. The Gamma Bomb never goes off, and there is no Incredible Hulk. So the Thing continues just to destroy everything. Like King Kong, he's just smashing planes left and right, destroying things left and right. And Reed is running out of options, so he tries himself to intervene to stop him. But Thing is too savage at this point and throws the Rubber Man across New York City. But fortunately, he's able to catch himself, stretching himself out and being able to glide back down to the city. Now, not only Bruce Banner's there, so is Tony Stark, the man who invents the Iron Man suit. The Human Torch tries to step in, gets extinguished, and basically the Fantastic Three aren't doing too good against them. Sue Storm tries to appeal to his humanity, and he swats her out of the way. And it comes down to Reed and Ben Grimm. But Bruce Banner and Stark have him in his sights, and they fire a gamma beam, right at him, trying to destroy his body, rip him apart. And it does do some damage. It rips part of his skin off, but it's not enough. He smashes the ray gun. And as the Fantastic Three, the military and the scientists lay at his feet, he swears it is not over, and that he will continue to rage against humanity, for he is a monster now, never to be human, never to be normal, and never to show the real world any mercy. And now Reigns, or Stark, Bruce, Ross, Reed Richards, the Fantastic Three are left to contemplate how to stop this monster, how to stop him without any of the other superheroes that would exist in the Marvel Universe. And I'll catch you on the flip side.